Good afternoon. Welcome to the TOWTalk Podcast. I'm Denise. I'm here with Neil. Hope you guys are having a fun and warm weekend in this frozen, chilly weather here in New York. In this episode, we're going to go over some local events happening both here in the town of Wallkill as well as in the county. For starters, there's going to be a Spill the Tea event with Supervisor Frank Dendonto this Tuesday evening from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's an open forum at the town hall. You can come in, you can ask questions. He's going to give us an update of how the first month is gone. If you could put that flyer up. This is called the Spill the Tea event for residents. That's this Tuesday from, as you can see, from 6 to 7 p.m. So be heard directly by your town supervisor. Looks like he's going to talk about what's going on, and you could see the various topics that are going to be discussed. And I'm going to plan to be there. Neil, are you planning to attend?
I'm going to try.
Then also on Thursday, the county legislature had a vote regarding the ICE facility. And Neil, you were in attendance. I understand you also spoke at this event along with our supervisor. So I was wondering if you could give us...
the supervisor of the town of Chester, where the facility will be located. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, if you could give us an update and just kind of tell us what happened.
So the Orange County Legislature voted, basically, it was a memorial resolution by the Rules Committee, basically saying that Orange County Legislature didn't want the facility, doesn't want the facility. The Orange County Legislature voted, and they voted unanimously against the facility that the facility going into the town of Chester. So, very good for them. I'm glad that they were able to do that. Now, I've queued up some information. I've queued up the video from some of the comments that night. So I wanted to share with the public the supervisor of the town of Chester's comments, and then my comments are following him. So they're only about 3 minutes each. So next 6 minutes, we're going to listen to what has to be said.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving on. Next up is Supervisor of the Town of Chester, Brendan Holleridge, followed by Neil Meyer.
I'm here about two things tonight. I'll start with the non-ICE related. First, there is a sewage plant being planned and probably funded in the near future. I would advise for the county legislator to not fund or vote on any legislation that has to do with that plant until there is written regulations about how the distribution of the capacity will be distributed across Orange County. Now moving on to ICE. As town supervisor, I feel like I have some authority to speak on this, at least I hope. Running through the list of reasons why this is terrible for my community. There is no sewage capacity in the village of Chester currently to give out to an expanded facility like this. It will cause a total disruption to the truck traffic and the economic development that we have in our industrial park. As it is, we will lose around annually $520,000 worth of tax revenue for the school district, the town, the village, the county, the fire district, the ambulance district, and the fire district, I believe. There will be an increased cost of policing and overtime costs, not only for my town and my residents that will have to make up for that and the loss of the tax revenue, but also for all of your communities. There will be a need for mutual aid from everyone here in Orange County to make up for the inevitable protests, which we've seen from the people here tonight saying that they will come out if this facility comes through. As other people have said, it's located near two children's sports facilities, which is unacceptable to me. There's been no communication between DHS or ICE with the town of Chester, the village of Chester, or Orange County, to my knowledge, which is unacceptable. I was raised in a Jewish household. My grandmother, who's heading into brain surgery on Monday, taught me everything I needed to know about the Holocaust and about what my ancestors had to do to fight and survive through the horrors that my people have suffered. under, and this is exactly what we're beginning to see here in this country, and I will not stand for it. Neither will she, and neither will anybody in this room.
I see they're applauding.
2 Americans were shot dead. Around 11 people have been shot in total across the country. Just under 40 people died in ICE custody in the last 2 years. Just under 20 people died in CBP custody in the last 2 years. Chester does not stand for this. New York does not stand for this. Orange County does not stand for this. The Hudson Valley does not stand for this. We do not need this in my town or any town, for that matter, in the United States of America. I don't want to have to wake up one morning hearing one of my residents or a protester or a detainee or anybody who's visiting the town of Chester had their rights trampled over, had their, I don't need this in my town. Please support this legislation. Please sign on to the bill that I sent, the letter that I sent
Thank
to
you.
you all. Please keep this out of the Hudson Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Well said.
We have Neil Meyer, followed by Gary Detweiler. So Neil Dwyer and Gary Detweiler.
Neil Meyer, Town of Walkill. It was reported that ICE CBP agents would take immigrants on starlight tours. This is when they drive a detainee into the woods, strip them naked, and leave them to die in the freezing cold. It was reported that ICE raped a woman for months, using the woman's child as leverage for his abuse. This was admitted to in court documents where the defense was they had immunity. It was reported that ICE CBP abducted 5 children from schools and homes. Porter, La, Dominguez, Diaz, Cruz, Casera, Campos, Good, and Preddy were all killed in January of 2026. 30 ICE CBP agents have been charged with crimes ranging from sexual assault, child sex trafficking, robbery, rape, torture, kidnapping, sexual abuse of a minor, possession and production of sexual abuse materials. Judge Slitz, the Minnesota federal judge appointed by Bush, wrote in a court filing, ICE has likely violated more court orders in January of 2026 than some federal agencies have violated in their entire existence. They violated 96 orders in 74 cases in 1 month. Since July of 2025, ICE CBP have violated the law 2,300 times. So please stop talking about following laws when those tasked with enforcing them refuse to follow them. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses.
Hell yeah.
What happens when one of these ICE agents kidnaps a 14, 15-year-old girl and rapes her? Or does ICE become the agency that kidnaps little girls for the Epstein billionaires? And please don't tell me it could never happen, because it already has, and no one has been held accountable and no one has done the goddamn thing. This facility in Orange County won't just be housing immigrants. It'll be housing our neighbors and housing citizens. I sat on a board for 8 years where my fellow Republicans said quite openly, the only good Democrat is a dead Democrat. An ICE agent in Chicago recently pointed his gun at a veteran and said, bang, bang, you're dead, liberal. The only good Democrat is a dead Democrat. Will money be set aside when ICE decides to do its starlight tours in Chester, leaving people naked all around town? Will police ensure the safety of our children in our schools so they're not kidnapped and raped by men with badges who have immunity or their billionaire benefactors? Currently, there are 70,000 people being held in 224 camps. That's 3 times as many people in U.S. immigration camps than were held by the Nazis in concentration camps in the spring of 1939, prior to the start of World War II. They want double that next year. And when all these facilities are full and the people can't be deported because no other country will take them and the cost of the facilities becomes too high, what will the final solution be for this administration?
Thank you. We have Gary Detweiler.
That was great. That was actually really, really good and says everything. And it's
So
heartbreaking.
that wasn't the full speech that I gave, that I wanted to give. I posted the full version on social media. All right. So just so everybody is aware, right?
Let me
sorry.
just what I would like to do is we have a Substack, by the way, folks. You can find the TOWTalk podcast on Substack. I will have Neil post that there. We'll have that posted there for you to read the entire text.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
That's a
I've
great
been,
idea.
I've been starting to really push our Substack, and I think that's you've got a lot of things to say, and I think that'll be a great place for you to put that. We also have a Patreon too, which I haven't really promoted much, but I'll copy stuff over to our Patreon and start building that as well. And it's TOWTalk Podcast on Patreon. All right.
Right.
So what do you? With regard to the vote, and I understand the vote was unanimous, including the one holdout from the week before. It was a unanimous vote. But what does this do? What does this mean?
Yeah, it's a memorial. It's a memorial, whatever resolution. It's not binding. So it has no force of government behind it. It basically is just a declarative statement from the representatives that represent this county saying we don't want this here, is basically what it says. Beyond that, I mean, the facility, if the federal government wants to put a facility in Chester, they can put a facility pretty much anywhere they want. There really isn't anything to stop them. They are the federal government. The interesting part, and this is a part that I do agree with, over the years, over decades now, we have heard about states' rights versus federal rights, right? I mean, this has been the right-left divide forever. And
Yeah.
now what you have is you have this government overreach by the federal government, by essentially a president who thinks he's kind of king, to say that he can do whatever he wants, and is showing that he can do whatever he wants. That's it. It's really what it comes down to and this is absolutely federal overreach. This is honestly what Republicans
y'all been
have been
talking
screaming about, right? For as long as I can remember, right, is states' rights versus federal rights. And now what we're seeing is that the federal government can basically trample on anybody's rights anytime, anywhere, and nobody can do a thing about it, right? I mean, this is sort of what it's come down to. The federal government can basically do whatever they want, give immunity whoever they want. We have no law in this country. We've become a lawless country now. That's really what it comes down to. You have billionaires and these political elite that sit above the Constitution.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you think
Above
about it.
accountability.
Above accountability, above the law. It doesn't apply to them. You name it. Then you have our Constitution, right? But then everybody else is below that, right? Is beholden to the laws, okay, that these politicians have put out there for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whether constitutional or not. I mean, we have now the government basically changing the law and saying, well, it's too hard to do laws. We're just going to create policy. Right. And and that policy is going to be hidden. It's going to be in secret. And we're going to send our secret police out there to enforce policy that we haven't even discussed among us. We haven't voted on. The public hasn't agreed to. And this is where we stand. So it really is that we are below the Constitution because the Constitution no longer applies to us. Right.
It no longer applies, period.
It no longer applies, period. It's literally just a document now that this administration has wiped their ass with. Okay. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. There are no more constitutional rights. You do not have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. You have to show papers. You no longer have a Fourth Amendment because the government can ask you for your papers at any point in time,
and
right?
Barge into your home. They're doing
and
that.
Barge into your home. I mean, these rights, the Ninth Amendment that says if we haven't provided for the amendment and there is no law, then you have freedom. The right to privacy no longer exists, right? Because now the government, and Scalia had written about this many, many times, right? In one of his opinions, he talked about how, the ruling by the court is that you have an absolute right to privacy, but that you as an individual can give up that right if you sign it over, right? And we have signed over our rights to privacy when we join social media. Okay, is essentially what Scalia had warned against. Scalia had warned against saying you may not have this much longer. But here's the problem with that statement. Okay, you absolutely have a right to privacy from your government. Okay, whether you give it up or not to other people is really up to you as an individual. You want to give it up to a corporation, you gave it up to a corporation. But then what we see is that the corporations now are working with the government, right, in this fascist regime, handing over your information, even though there are no warrants, right? So basically what this administration has done is they've blurred the line between constitutional rights, individual rights versus corporate rights versus corporations and the government. There is no line anymore. The government is the corporation now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They've taken ownerships in a number of these corporations, and now what they've done is they've taken that next step. Okay,
and that's a bigger conversation that
Yes.
That we are going to have where we talk about how things have changed here, and with our privacy, and we can get into Doge and how that's impacted us. But just want to
Well,
keep
you
it sort
have-
of zeroed in here locally in this, because that is going to be a bigger conversation we're going to get into.
Well, see, and that's where right, the whole MAGA thing. Okay, that's the point, right? Is now everything is local. Right? It used to be politics used to be this nebulous, don't talk about politics. We want to keep things local, blah, blah, blah. But this is all local now. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally
Well, no,
invading everybody's life every fucking day.
that is
You know?
that is true. That
There
is
wa-
true.
there
That's the
was
whole
a-
reason why we're here.
Right. There was so somebody had posted on Facebook that ICE had entered one of the Middletown schools. Turned out that this was a false reporting. Okay? But it shows you the level of fear in our community that you see a vehicle with out of state plates, blacked out windows, you're automatically
I saw
thinking
that.
it's ICE, but it may not be, and that's sort of the problem. Is that this fear has now been created in our community. Okay, that is the definition of terrorism. This is what bothers me. Okay,
100%.
the definition of terrorism is creating fear in your community, right? By doing something that is outside the law, right? So this fear that's being created, as you heard me, they broke the law 2,300 times in 6 months.
It's 6 months.
In 6 months.
It's unconscionable.
This is our law. This is what the world has become now. This is what our world has now become. Talking about local, what else is there locally? I mean, we could talk about all the other things, but like, is it really going to matter in a few months when we're all sitting in a concentration camp?
Yeah,
It's
well,
hard.
that's the question.
It's hard to focus on the here and now on some of these more minute things when there's this overarching thing coming for you. And people may say, well, I'm white, so I don't have to worry about them coming for me. I'm sorry. Listen, they thought about that. They thought that way in Germany too, until they eventually came for them. Okay. They will absolutely be coming. Okay. This is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
So, to wind this up, first of all, this is a conversation that I would love to have some commenting on about how you feel about this, how you feel about the surveillance state that is coming for us, and we're going to have a bit longer conversation about that. But we already know how much is out there going on. How do you feel about here we voted against having this ICE facility in, and yet we pretty much it looks like they're going to come in anyway. We saw you had mentioned that there were Ryder trucks already parked there, which looks like they must be loaded with stuff. The signs have been taken down, the Pep Boy signs. So it looks like they may be going forward with doing this. How do you feel about having these people sort of roaming in your communities? That's bound to happen. It looks like that's what they want to do. So please comment below. Please like and share this episode with your friends, and again, let us know what you think. And reminder about Tuesday, the Spill the Tea event from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Town of Wallkill Town Hall with Frank Dendonto. We're going to be present. I'm going to be present, and I'm actually going to be around, so I'll make sure to be there. And we have an 8 p.m. live stream, so I'll make sure to get back in time to get connected here and share some of that information. All right? And we will see you in the next segment. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, guys.
Peace out.